Hi guys, so today I'm going to be doing a book review video. I have 7 books, and yesterday I got new glasses, and I'm so excited because my other glasses were just like falling apart. They were getting rusted and scratched everywhere on the lenses and stuff. So I got new glasses, and I like this style. I haven't had glasses like this type before. So let's just get right into it with the first book. This one is called Cancelled by Murder. It's a postmistress mystery. It's by Jean Flowers. This is what it looks like. And it's about this woman who she works as the postmistress at the post office. And there was this horrible storm. I think it's it's in Massachusetts. I was going to say it's in like the New England part of the world. And she is driving home and she notices these things that are happening. And here, that same day, her friend, who's like the police chief, she tells her that this woman who runs the fabric store died. A tree fell on her or something. And she doesn't really think that's what happened. She goes to the site the next day and she sees all these different things that say otherwise. So she has to, she wants to figure it out because this guy wants to build this farmer's market close to where all these different businesses are. And the girl that died, she was one of the women that didn't want the farmer's market there. So yeah, it was a good story. I really enjoyed it. It was a nice little read. This one, I know you guys probably aren't going to read this book, but I do. I like reading these DK Eyewitness travel guides. I think it's just because, like, I know that I'm probably never going to, visit some of these places. Just because, I don't know, just because I never flew before, so I'm kind of scared. So, this is like and these are pretty good. I mean, these aren't, obviously they're not like currently up to date, but this one is Moscow. This is what it looks like. And I like it because the one thing about this book is that it's color coordinated, so it never like jumps from one thing to the other. The one thing in this book that really was confusing to me was the fact that they kept mentioning a couple different churches throughout the whole book. And I'm like, okay, but I don't think they are like, and I don't know if it was like the same church or if they were different. So that was one thing I was like, okay, like, is it the same? Is it different? And then if it's the same one, then you'd probably have to go all the way back to where they first mentioned it to look at pictures of it so you can remember, okay, it looks like it was in this style, the same style as the one they're talking about now. This book I really didn't enjoy. This is The Ghost and the Bogus bestseller. It's a haunted bookshop mystery. It's by Cleo Coyle. This is what it looks like. And it's about this woman who she carries around this coin that belonged to this detective man from like the 1920s or something. And I guess it was his detective agency was in the same place as the bookstore. So she carries around this man's coin, and she gets help from him, like he's like a ghost. And what happens, it's just weird because they kind of have like this like flirtation thing going on, and I'm like, that's a little weird to me, to be honest, because I'm like, okay, so you like the ghost, are you in love with the ghost? I think the ghost loves you. I don't know, they have like a love relationship and stuff, which is kind of weird because I'm like, how are you gonna like be in a relationship with a ghost? But anyway, the other thing that he does is he takes her back into time, to his time, to help her solve these mysteries that are related to her time. So this book was about this woman. Oh, he was in the 1940s. It's about this book that's just like book, I read this book so long ago that I can't remember it. But it was about this book that was the bestseller. And this woman comes into her shop and says, "Oh my gosh, this picture in the back is of me." And they were like, "No way, she's crazy." She takes the book, she takes the book and runs away, and then the girl, Penelope in the book, she goes to her house and she's dead. So she has to figure out why this happened, if it's true that this woman was on the back of the cover of this book and stuff like that, with the help of Jack, who is the detective, or was he a PI? Yeah, he was a PI, a private investigator. But I just didn't really like it just because of the fact that it was weird that you had to like, it was weird how like it would go back and forth between like her and then the ghost taking her to a different place, which I don't think it had any real effect on the story, because I'm like, this book had a lot of chapters in it, and when books like these have a lot of chapters in it, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be a book where most of the chapters are irrelevant to what's going on in the story. So yes, so, and plus it was like a couple like in the beginning of the story, it was about it. I thought it was about this guy because it was, I didn't know it was the private detective, and it was about his little case that he was working on and stuff, and he didn't really, and I'm like, okay, like, and then the first chapter is about Penelope in the bookstore, and I'm like, well, what's gonna happen to this thing, because they never brought it up until halfway through the book, and it took like 10, like, not 10 chapters, but a couple chapters to get through that little detective story. And I'm like, you didn't have to put that into the story because it didn't really help. I mean, it was a thing where like she was supposed to figure it out herself, but then the ghost told her why it was related to her case, kind of. So it was kind of like, well, what was the point of doing all that then? So this book, I really liked this book. It was kind of funny. The one thing about it was the character in it, I'll explain later, but the character in it had like one flaw in the book, I think. This is called My Miserable Lonely Lesbian Pregnancy. It's by Andrea Askowitz. And I don't know for sure, but she put herself in the book, so I don't know if, oh, this is what it looks like. We didn't show you guys. I don't know if she put herself in the book just to put herself in the book, or if this is something that really happened to her, because in the back it said all too real account, so I don't know if that means that this actually happened to her. But anyway, it was about this woman, Andrea, who her and her girlfriend, decided to have a baby. They weren't married or anything. They were together for, I think, like 5 or 7 years, I can't remember. And then they break up, and she still goes along with having a baby. And she it starts out in her first trimester, and then the second part, it goes in parts, so there's not really like stories, and it goes by weeks. Like, you can see, I'm trying to find a page that has a lot of weeks on it. Like, this one says week 4, day 3 or something. I don't know what the other page says. Or week 5, day 2. So it goes around like that. And in the next part of the book, it talks about before she became pregnant. So it explains a lot of her and her girlfriend's relationship. Her girlfriend's name was Kate. And in the whole book, the one thing that I really didn't like about her is that, well, I can kind of relate to her a little bit, where she, not on this part, but she always thought that her and Kate were going to get back together, because he said they always had fights and they always got back together, but it never happened. And she keeps like laying it on like that, where it's like, oh, I'm going to be lonely now and blah 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 because I don't have anybody. But she does. She has her parents, she has her best friends, stuff like that, but she really wants Kate there. And the whole book, it's like, if the author would have got rid of that flaw with the character, where she was just like, oh, like, I don't want to do this because of whatever, and we're like, Or something like, oh, I wonder if she's doing this with her new girlfriend, because Kate actually finds another girlfriend in the book and stuff like that. But I mean, like, I kind of related to her a little bit because, you always have those moments where you feel lonely or whatever. I mean, I never was pregnant or anything, but um you feel like that sometimes, like after you get out of like a relationship. But then it's mostly because, you've been in a relationship for however long, no matter how long it was, and then you're kind of like, okay, now I have to get back to being by myself, kind of. And I feel like with her, she was one person that I feel like she was better to be by herself, kind of, in a way. But there was this, her one friend, I feel like they were starting to have a relationship with a little bit, even though she had a boyfriend kind of thing. But I don't know. I don't know if that was just because, she was trying to get over Kate and she just had these, like, things for her friend then. I don't know. But it was a really good book. I really liked it. And I like, minus that one flaw, I can kind of relate to that character just a little bit. Just because, like, I don't know, just like the way she said certain things, I was kind of like, yeah, like I felt like that too sometimes, that type of thing. So this book I really didn't like either. I don't even know how to explain this book because I really didn't get into it. It's called The Cathedral of Vampires. It's by Mary Ann Mitchell, and I should have put this, if I knew, I should have put this in my Halloween one. But this is what it looks like, and it's about this, I don't know how to explain it, like this group of vampires, I guess. And one of them is half vampire, half human. And there's this cathedral that this evil vampire created, and he puts all of his enemies in there and stuff. And here this woman gets trapped in this cathedral, and the half mortal, half vampire man, he has to rescue her, something like that. And the whole book, at the beginning of the book, it seemed like they were going to kill off this head vampire guy, but I don't think they ever did in the whole book. And it was just like, I didn't really get into it. I didn't really like it. Like, it went from one character to the other, so you have to pay attention to what characters are with who in this novel, book, whatever. I just really didn't like it. I didn't like it, and it said they were supposed to like destroy these groups of vampires in this cathedral, but I don't even think they did that. And I think it goes along with a different book just because of the way that it felt. I don't know if it really does or not, but that's what it seems like to me. So this book is, I like these books. They're like punny books. The titles are puns. It's Some Like It Hawk. It's a Donna Andrews book. It's by Donna Andrews, and it's a Meg Lasgslow mystery. This is what it looks like. And I really like these books. I like I like Meg. I like how, like, she's like a take no prisoners kind of woman. She's just like, I want to do this, I want to solve this, I want to do whatever. It takes place around the 4th of July, and it's about this, it's like this little fair type thing that centers around the town. Like, it's about kind of like the town's history, kind of. And it's about this Meg and the mayor of the town go to talk to this man who trapped himself into the city hall building, I think that's the building it was in. And there was gunshots, and somebody died, and they think it was the man who barricaded himself in the building. And I don't want to really get into it just because of the fact that there are some things in the book that I don't want to give away and stuff. So, yeah. And then there's like the one thing about this book where I'm like, this guy, why he barricaded, well, because he's been barricaded in this place for a year. And he's still alive, this guy, so you guys know. And there's this one way that people can get into this building, and I'm kind of just like, why couldn't this guy do this and then just pretend that he was still in the building kind of thing? I don't know. But yeah, so this next book it's not a book for everybody, and when I got this book, I thought it was going to be different than what it was. And I love MASH, the TV show. I love it. I have all the seasons on DVD. I haven't seen all of the movie though. I think I didn't watch, like, this was on like a long time ago, and I think it was like I missed like the last hour of it. But anyway, I like Alan Alda. He's a great actor. And stuff like that. And this book is called The Complete Book of MASH by Suzy Kalter. I guess that's how you say her last name. I always butcher people's last names, so I apologize if I said anybody's name wrong. This is what it looks like. And I thought it was going to be a book about maybe the actors and how they felt about their characters, and some like, oh, this is what their favorite movie, this is what their favorite episodes were, and blah, blah, blah. But here it was a synopsis of every single episode, 1 through 11, plus the finale movie. And then at the end of these sections, the actors, except for McLean Stevenson, the rest of them are in there. I don't know why he's not in the book at all. I don't know why. But they talk about their experience on MASH, where they talk about how they got their role and how it started and how it transformed during the show and stuff like that. And it was a good book, but it was kind of like I wanted more from it. Like if it was something like that, like how the actors and actresses talked about the show like that, I think it would have been better than just doing like a synopsis of every single episode and then like the summary of it. Like I didn't really enjoy that, because I'm like, I seen all the episodes, I didn't need to do that. And I'm like, if people bought this book when it first came out, like why, like I don't know, just felt like it was like underwhelming. So I'm like, if somebody bought this book because they loved MASH like me back in the day, like why would you need a book about all the synopsises of the show, of the episodes, when you probably have them all on DVD, or they're all on reruns on TV, or you know all the episodes by heart anyway, you know what I mean? But it was still a good book. It was just like, and it didn't take me that long to get through, just because of the fact that like the synopsis to some of the episodes were really short. So that was my book, I was gonna say book haul video. This was my book review video. I'll see you guys next time with another video, and hope you guys have a wonderful day.